Hello friends, this is Sayyid Shoaib from Dr. Ved Prakash Patil Pharmacy College, Aurangabad. Today we are going to discuss on the topic processing of tablets. On successful completion of this, the learners will be able to understand the importance of excipients and granulation in the tablet, the various excipients used in the tablet, the process of granulation, difference between dry and wet granulation, various tablet compression machines. Now, before switching to actual topic, let me ask you one question. Why excipients are added in tablet? Pause the video and write your answer on your notebook and comment later it on the comment box. Now let's start with the actual topic, that is formulation of the tablet, that include the very first excipients or additives. Whatever agents that we are adding in the tablet, apart from the active ingredient, all those ingredients or agents are called as excipients or additives, which include diluent, binder and adhesive, disintegrant, lubricants and glidants, coloring agents, flavoring agents and sweetening agents. Whatever these agents we are adding in the formulation, all these agents should possess some common properties that are known as the ideal properties of the excipients, which include non-toxicity, their commercial availability in acceptable grade, their low cost, they must be physiologically inert, they must be physically and chemically stable, they must be free from all microbial contamination, they do not alter the bioavailability of the drug, and they must be color compatible. These are the ideal properties that should be possessed by the excipient that we are using for the formulation of the tablet. Now let's discuss one by one each and every excipient. The first include diluent. So when the tablet or the active ingredient is in that much concentration that it is not easily compressible unless and until we do not add any kind of the other ingredient. So whatever these ingredients are there, which are generally used to make up the weight or volume of that particular powder material to compress into the tablet, all these agents are called as diluent. They are also known as bulking agent because they are used to increase the bulk of the powder. These agents include lactose. Lactose are the different grade, that is anhydrous lactose is there, spread dried lactose are there, then various grades of the starch, that is RX 1500, starch, that is MDEX, Cellutab, and microcrystalline cellulose, which is also known as the avicin. There is a disadvantage of using lactose. It is commonly available, it is cheap, but disadvantage is that it goes the discoloration or it goes under the Maillard reaction with the amine drugs. That's why we are not using lactose for the amine containing drugs. Now second type of the excipient include binders and adhesives. These are the agents which impart the binding or adhesion property to the powder material. For this reason only, the powder material will not separate from each other. There is a certain force is applied so that all the materials or the powder particles should bind with each other. These materials might be added either in dry form, either in wet form. The dry binder include polyvinyl pyrrolidone, that is PVP. The wet binder include acacia, tragacanth, then starch, hydroxypropyl cellulose, methyl cellulose, hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose. They are added either in the form of the paste or they are added in the form of the solution. The next agent include disintegrant. After going inside the body, the property of the tablet is that it should break into the smaller particle. Unless and until it will not break into the smaller particle, it will not go dissolution. So For this reason, we are adding certain agents that are called as a disintegrant to break the tablet into the smaller particle. The example include starch. The common names include the brand name available Primogel and Explotab, clays, Vigum, bentonite, polyvinyl pyrrolidone, that is cross-linked, and cellulose derivative, that is ag-diazole sodium carboxymethyl cellulose. These are the commonly used disintegrant that we are adding in the tablet. The next ingredient include lubricants and glidants. Lubricants are the agents which are generally used to reduce the friction between the powder material and the dye wall. Okay, whatever the friction is there, that is generally occurring between the powder particle and dye wall, so that the powder material should not stick to the dye wall. That's why we are adding the lubricant. Glidants we are adding to promote the flow. To promote the flow of the material or the granules, we are adding the glidants. The example include stearic acid derivatives. Then the last types of the agent that we are adding, that is coloring, flavoring and sweetening agent. In case of the coated tablet or in case of the chewable tablet only, we are adding this kind of the ingredient. FD and C dyes we are commonly using. The flavor oil generally used for flavoring agent purpose, and for sweetening purpose we are adding the sugar, mannitol, saccharin. So these are the various excipients that we are adding in the tablet. The next include the granulation technology or the manufacturing processes. Before switching to the actual topic, let me ask you one question. Why should we go for granulation? Please write the answers on your notebook. Later it post in the comment box. We'll switch over to the topic. Now there are generally three processes of the tablet manufacturing: direct compression, dry granulation, wet granulation. One of the cheapest and simplest method is nothing but the direct compression. In that, if the tablet or the ingredients are of such quality that these are directly compressible, there is no need to add any kind of the special granules or any kind of the process. So in that case, we are going for the direct compression. The steps include weighing the ingredients, screening of ingredients, mixing the ingredients, and the compression into the tablet. Now the question now arises about the granulation technology. Why we should go for granulation? Reason is that the granules flow evenly through the hopper. The weight variation is not possible. The weight variation is generally within the range with the help of the granules, and the tablet which are formed by the granules is easily disintegrated, and the dissolution is generally convenient after going inside the body. Okay. Now there are two types of the granulation: dry granulation and wet granulation. The name itself indicates dry. We are not adding any kind of the wet mass or the water. That's why the name is dry. The steps include weighing of the ingredient, screening, that is passing through the sieve, mixing of these ingredients, then compressing these ingredients into the larger tablet, that slug, then milling of this larger tablet or slug, mixing of again the ingredients and compressing into the tablet. The wet granulation include weighing of ingredient, screening, that is passing through the sieve, mixing, and the step involve the wet massing. We are preparing the solution of the binder, and we are preparing a damp coherent mass, and that damp coherent mass should be passed through the sieve. The granules are generated, these are further dried, these are further passed through the sieve, further mixed, and finally compressed into the tablet. Now whatever the process we have seen, that is direct compression, wet granulation, dry granulation, you should keep one thing in mind, that the lubricants and glidants are added just before the compression. If you add lubricants and glidants during the granulation or before the very much earlier before the compression, then they will tend to form the harder tablet. Now the next topic includes the tablet compression machine. Whatever the tablet compression machine that we are using, either it is manual or automatic, they are having certain common properties. That is, the various parts of this machine include hopper for holding and feeding the granulation, dies that define the size and shape of the tablet, punches for compressing the granulation within the dies, cam tracks for guiding the movement of the punches, a feeding mechanism for moving granulation from the hopper into the dies. Now these are the various machines that we are using for compression of the tablet. In first diagram, that is single station tablet compression machine, you can see that there is only one station, that is one die and two sets of the punches, that is upper punch and the lower punch. You can operate it by manually with the help of the hand. You can apply the force and you can compress into the tablet. The second machine, that is multi-station tablet compression machine, that is generally manufactured by Acura or Karnavati. You can find that there is a hopper there inside the machine and there are different dies, that is depending upon the different shapes of the tablet, oval shaped tablet, okay. The weight of the tablets are different, 100 milligram, 250 milligram, or different shape of the tablets, or different stations are there, different dies are there, and different arrangements of these kind of the punches are there. That is, you can change the punches, upper punch and lower punch and die, and thereby you can manufacture the tablet whatever you are desiring the shape of the tablet. On industrial level, generally we are using rotary tablet compression machine. On this machine, in a single minute you can manufacture 1000 to 2000 tablet. That is, upper and sets of the upper and lower punches are there, that sets of the dies are there, and whatever these dies are there, they are responsible for the filling of the granules, and as soon as the granules are filled, the upper and lower punch are coming closer to each other and the compression is occurring and you are getting your tablet ejected. So these are the different mechanisms that are involved in the processing of the tablet. So it can be concluded that by using a proper excipients and a proper method, that is either direct compression, dry granulation, wet granulation, and proper compression machine, you can manufacture the desired tablet which is within the range of the various evaluation parameters that are desired.